Hello and welcome to the Panorama Now at Noon radio show on WVLP 103.1 FM and the Facebook Live show on Panorama Now Facebook page. With me today and tonight is Hunter. He goes by Hunter. And his real name is Zach Hunter. And Storm, who goes by Storm. I had to ask him what their names were, and so it's actually Zank. Hunter Zank. Sorry, what did I say?
Zach Hunter. I've been called Zach my whole life. So
Easy switch up.
It's easy to do, yeah.
And Storm Lowden.
Yes.
And they are both part of the band Whiskey Thomas, and they come back to Indiana from Nashville, where they've been for the last 4 years, and they have a show coming up Saturday, August 12th at 18th Street Brewery in Hammond. It's a very popular facility in Hammond, and we are going to talk about all things music.
That's our specialty. That's the forte.
They do alternative, I can say alternative country or country alternative. I guess my first question is, can you just briefly explain alternative country?
I think it's like everyone involved has brought a certain flavor to the table with different influences or whatever that may be, and it kind of just found its way into the music. A lot of it is rooted in, I would say, traditional country, but we have a lot of rock players and people that come from different places. So we bring that together, and I think the sound, it's a little somewhere in there.
When you hear it, you'll understand.
I mean, how many country drummers have a double bass? I never hear that.
Right. When you hear it, you'll get it. Believe me, because I heard it the first time I heard the first song. So, and we're lucky that you're back in Indiana. One of my other questions is, why did you come back to Indiana?
Well, I'm from here initially, so I think it was like scoping out Nashville to kind of see like what it was about and what I had to do. And I mean, like with the power of social media and like the team that we have at home, I'm like, I think we can run the whole thing from home.
Yeah, technology has changed, and it does make it a lot easier in some ways and a lot different in other ways.
Exactly, it's a duality to it, yeah.
Yeah, so you really don't have to be, I mean, that's happening all across the board in all kinds of businesses. And they're like, I can do it from home or I can do it from anywhere.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a good answer. I like that answer.
Thank you.
And we're going to be listening to 3 songs today, and they had their first album, 1952.
Show him the knucks. Blasted.
Nuts.
That's his hand. That's not a prop.
That's Grandpa's.
And so
version.
before we hear the first song, I'd like for you to explain why it's called 1952.
Okay. So yeah, my grandparents were born in 1952, and they started playing in a band together when they moved to Indiana. And so, the next
Your
generation,
grandparents.
yes,
Mhm.
Wayne and Donna Zank, they
God bless him.
started doing country music around here, and then my uncle, and my mom, their generation, saw them coming up doing it, and then it's kind of just me following suit in that way. And we have my uncle playing with us, and it's a
Oh,
family.
he is?
It's a big
Yeah.
family. This isn't a band. This is a family.
Oh.
It really is.
Okay, because I was going to ask you about Uncle Tommy,
Yeah.
and you traveled with him and
Yeah,
played
so-
with him several times.
I basically got my start with country music playing with him and his band. That was formerly Hoosier Highway, and they played around here a lot. They played
Oh yeah,
around
I've
the
heard of
country.
them. Oh yeah, yeah, they're
So-
real popular.
Yeah.
2 of them are with us now, and so he's basically just kind of been a big motivation for me my entire life, and definitely a big reason for why we're doing it now.
For sure.
So who's I'm throwing some questions here that you
No, yeah, that's fine.
weren't expecting.
Yeah,
but
get into it.
Who's the director?
Of
the music and
the music?
the style.
It's definitely, I think, like, it's a big process of, like, I was writing these songs for, like, 4 years, or just writing songs in general. And the name Whiskey Thomas came through the songwriting phase. I didn't know if what I was gonna use it for or whatever. It was just a song at one point. And then we ended up going with it. And it's kind of like I brought all these first songs to the table, but I think everyone involved really did kind of bring their own thing to it that I think we all collectively were just kind of like, this works or this doesn't, or we think that's cool.
It's a collaborative effort.
Together.
We all put our 2 cents in.
Everyone definitely made it about the songs though. Like they, you know what I mean? They were like, let's serve the song type of thing. But everyone's natural influences, I think, just kind of showed. So.
Oh, okay. I just thought, because he's your uncle and he's older and
He's
more
definitely
experienced.
He's got the mentor role.
Yeah, he
definitely does. We
He
look up to him a
definitely
lot.
keeps things in line, and he has very good perspective, and
He keeps us out of line.
for sure
No pun intended.
in line. How would that go?
Well, we won't go into that.
Right.
There could be a lot there. Well, we're going to go into the very first song, and it's titled Fire. Would you like to say a few words about it?
Fire is just a simple story about a guy getting into the music scene, and maybe he has doubts in the beginning, and maybe he has his woman turn his back on him, but he stays to the grindstone and emerges the other side. And
But it's a pep song.
right. It's about
to get that spark going.
It's about like no matter what, like keep your eyes on the goal type of thing, and in the end,
motivational.
Yeah.
Well, I read where almost all your stories or your songs tell a story.
For sure.
There were story songs, so that's different in itself.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let's hear the song Fire.
Beautiful.
Okay, let's see. We're getting through this really quick. You guys aren't asking. I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
Not long answers.
We'll talk a little
it.
slower.
Oh, I kind of asked that at the very beginning about the alternative country. Well, I'll switch that around.
Okay.
Okay.
You've been on.
We're live, baby.
Oh, you didn't.
Hey, that's part of the magic.
Yeah, that's part of the message. Yes.
What did Bill O'Reilly say? Do it live.
What they call hot mics.
Right.
These mics are on fire.
We talked about alternative country earlier in the show, but it says here that you were a pioneer. So did that like happen in Nashville, and someone was like saying, "Well, that's a different kind of country. It's not a normal country that we have. You're the pioneer of alternative country."
I think
That's hard to label.
I think we're definitely going for something that isn't, not that it's not being done. I think it's just the way that we're doing it. Like we're really like letting influences shine, like I was saying before. So it's like, you're gonna have that. But I think
so. You're going to have your own. You basically have your own style, and once someone's heard one of your songs, and they hear the next one, they know it's.
Hopefully.
They know it's Whiskey Thomas.
Yeah.
That's what
happens when you play with your heart.
Right. That's really a great thing for a musician to have is their own sound.
Yes.
And people recognize it.
It's almost imperative.
it's easy to get distracted today, I think.
For
too.
sure.
So
Everybody sounds the same. It's all watered down.
Right. Yeah. Right. So why is your first album? You got your first album out, which was out about 10 years ago?
10 years?
No,
March of last year.
March.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
This just came out in March.
Okay, so when you're going to be recording another one soon. So why is this one called 1952?
So I figured the first body of work, and like I said, my grandparents being born in 1952, it kind of just symbolizes the beginning of all of this, so this is like kind of the third generation thing. So I'm like, the first body of work, we'll throw it up to them, put their birth year on it, and try to
pay
encompass
homage.
it. Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of neat. That it's nice that there is a story behind it. And
There's a history, rich
History.
rich. The roots go deep.
so we can talk forever, huh?
We could.
Well, we're going to listen to the second song, and it's called Next to Me, and someone say a few words about the song.
Yeah, Next to Me is, I'll give my meaning of it. I guess it's more like, in the song, it's using like the imagery of a man and a woman at differences, but it's kind of just about learning to let go of things maybe that you hang on to a little bit too tight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all just kind of a metaphor for that.
Oh, cool. Let's play that song now.
Next to me, baby.
What were you trying to say, Les?
So far, you've only got 13 minutes max.
We've used up 13 minutes so far.
You've used 13
Okay.
minutes.
Okay,
That
cool.
doesn't include the songs.
I know.
This last section only was 3 minutes.
So we're going to go 30 minutes on there.
Okay, you ready?
Uh,
You're alive here, not here.
I know.
Chemistry.
Oh, I forgot about that.
What's that?
What about the chemistry of that?
Oh, you can see it. It's
We can talk about our story.
Yeah,
Dude, we can get into a lot
You're
here.
still alive,
Man.
so I mean, it's
me
recorded.
and Hunter go deep, man.
So me and him met through, I was working over COVID time. At Jim Rubino's.
Shout out Rubino.
Shout out
Oh,
Rubino.
Jim Rubino?
Yes,
He
sir.
put dude. I was in his band Barcode. I was the drummer for
Really?
like a year and a half. I mean, there's been multiple incarnations, but I was blessed to be a part of that, and it actually brought me to Hunter
Done a lot
himself.
of business with.
He's a great guy, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we definitely connected through that. He came in, I think, to buy a drum head, and then he ended up coming around for a couple more things. And
No, I went in there for the first practice for Barcode,
oh yeah,
and then that was like your first day.
I remember we set that drum kit up together.
Yeah, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, and it was like we'd have, good experiences like that, and then like maybe a year and a half goes by.
Of like no talking whatsoever.
Yeah, and that was when I was like starting to put
But you
music
knew
out.
each other.
It was like
We
when
knew
I
of each other.
when I met him, it was like I had a brother. I was like, "There, I found you."
We definitely
you know?
connected on like all kinds of like pop culture
Right.
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the same music, which is cool because this is both like not what we were kind of bringing to the table at the time.
I'm a
Like,
metal drummer.
Yeah.
I've played metal most of my life.
And I was like kind of working on a rock project at the time, like not really knowing what I was doing, but just keeping busy in music. And then when the band started growing for this, it came down to like kind of the last minute thing where we were gonna start practicing. We're like, we gotta find like a drummer.
We need a drummer.
Yeah.
And I'm scrolling,
It's an important role, man.
and you can imagine. And I'm scrolling on Facebook, and as we're talking about it, I saw a video of him, so I was like, I'll shoot him a message. And
What was
see.
the video you saw? Carry
was
On
like-
My Wayward Son or something?
Maybe that was on Facebook or something
Yeah.
like that, and I saw him playing. I was like, I'm just gonna message him and see. I didn't know if he was gonna be too busy or what, but he ended up going for it, and then we ended up having a good first practice with everybody. And
Good is an understatement.
Then
I
it
mean,
was-
we lit that place on fire, and I was like, I don't even know your name.
right,
I met all the guys in the band in the first day, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is a family. Okay, we're in this.
So you guys connected.
Right.
Immediate connection.
For
I
sure.
mean, like two magnets.
It's definitely been growing.
And
since.
musically connected.
For
Oh
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
sure.
sure.
And I interviewed another musician, and she went into detail about the recording process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of wanted to ask you, you see in the movies where
Oh,
they
yeah.
have this big window screen, they got this big board, and then they got this big room where you're recording.
It was almost like
It's
that.
not movie magic. That's how it is.
It was almost like that. Like, we didn't really know what to expect. I think we just knew we had like the creative vision or whatever in the songs. And initially we were like, let's just go down there and do something like live and try to record it and get like a video. And then we were like, what if we just did an album? Or
Yeah, it was kind of spur of the moment,
So
like,
then-
let's make an album.
we actually, I think, had the time. We had the time like booked. I'm pretty sure before we actually knew we were going to use it to make an album. So
Yeah.
we just went down there, and it was a really cool facility. Like, it was an old record pressing plant in Nashville that they converted into a studio, and like all the rooms had their own feel, so like you could record anywhere.
It
But
oozes character.
Yeah, like
Wow.
every room has its own feeling, and they
You
have
got to pick which room you wanted?
Well, thankfully they put us in the best room.
they kind of picked for us, I think, when we got there. Like, you know, but
you
we
nervous?
definitely needed it. I don't know if I would say like we wanted to be there.
I mean, it's like being a small fish in a big pond, you know.
Yeah.
we definitely.
Virgil
wanted to
Simpson
be there.
recorded here. Like,
Right.
these are some big shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely big names that have been through there, and we.
You know, there is a big thing in music where you guys have your own original music because you're a writer, and a lot of people out there don't know that there is a big difference, and you really can't make a recording with someone else's music. I mean,
Yeah.
it's illegal.
Plagiarism,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that the only way you can actually have a CD is you have your own original music and your own original writer.
Yeah, for sure.
And with that, when you go out and perform, because you've done a lot of performing in Nashville and a lot of performing up here in Indiana, do you like mix it up with a couple of cover songs and then a couple of your own songs just to keep the audience
Yeah.
Yeah,
kind of, you know,
You got to keep
hooked
them
in?
ear candy. You know, they got to be hooked onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ear candy.
it's definitely, I think, a thing where right now, like, we've been working on this kind of like longer set that we've interweaved a bunch of covers that we like. I think it's a lot of stuff that people don't really play out.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
it's songs that I think fit like us as a band, and we kind of are taking them.
They
and
kind of
making
fit
them.
your style.
Yeah, we're definitely adding our own feel to them, I think.
Yeah.
So, and then it's just so we can go out and play longer shows and, you know, try to just show like, you know, what we're capable
Well,
of.
I mean, I do know from personal experience that people do like cover songs.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And
Especially at our stage, I think it's important just
Right.
because like we're still winning over a lot of our
Exactly.
audience. So it's like,
yeah,
You got to show them how you can play.
yeah, for sure.
yeah. Well, and, you know, unless you're someone like myself, you know, I can pick up a song, you know, immediately.
Mhm.
But a lot of people don't have that ear.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
And the first time, like I was telling Shane, the first time I heard your song, I knew.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Great.
I
Thank you.
knew.
Yeah.
So now we're going to listen to the third song, and the title of this one is Out of Line. And who wants to say a few words about it?
I mean, he wrote the song, so I'm gonna let him talk.
Yeah. I guess I'll explain this one too.
Uh-huh.
So Out of Line is basically, I think it's funny because we thought it wasn't gonna do the best on the record.
It almost
And
got
it's-
cut.
And it's, yeah, like
Yeah.
we were kind of thinking like, we still think it's good enough to be on here, but like we definitely thought that it would be the less received of
Yeah.
the bunch.
Little did we know.
Yeah, and it
Right.
ended up doing the best, and it's
Well,
been
things
played
like
the
that
most
happen
on.
a lot.
That's why you can't have the expectations of it. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta go in there
That-
fresh,
That
clean-minded.
happened to the Beatles a lot too. They just had a song. They go, no one's gonna like this.
Right.
And then
It's called Hey Jude.
Yeah.
No big deal.
yeah. And then it ends up being
Quadruple platinum.
Yes. Well, here's the song Out of Line.
Ready?
Yes. So tell us a little bit more about how you got inspired to start writing and how old you were when you started writing and you know that whole process. Were you like really young, like 15?
Yeah, so
I'd say even younger than that.
like, I mean, my entire life, I think I've been jokingly, like, as a kid, you know, like, I would even just make up words to songs, like, that I would be singing to or whatever. But over time, it's been, you know, playing guitar and then getting turned on to country music through my uncle, like, you know, actually playing it. And then that kind of segued me into, I actually traded the guitar that I played on stage in that band for my acoustic that I wrote, like, the first bunch of songs on. So it's like, I definitely then just put all of my creative energy into, like, songwriting and sat
And
around.
how old are you when that
At
happened?
this point, I'm probably, like, 19 or 20, starting to take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I think it was just I would write, one song and I liked it, or then I would write like 3 a couple months later, and then some more time would go by and another one would come to me, and then I just kind of started trying to follow that, whatever that was.
Yeah, that recipe.
Yeah.
Well, as a kid, though, you spent a lot of time going to your grandfather's concerts, right?
Well, my grandfather and them definitely weren't playing at the time of me growing. That was when my uncle playing started to take over. So I definitely was seeing my grandpa and my uncle and them playing more so for my uncle now, who was kind of taking the helm or whatever. But so growing up, I mean, I have memories of like strumming along with the guitar, like with them, and not really knowing what I'm doing, but wanting to be a part of it.
Just enjoying it.
Yeah,
Just
and
being there.
now, we have younger ones around us that are kind of doing the same thing. So we take it like,
Passing
like
the torch.
Yeah. We're trying to.
Now, I
lay
don't know
that
if you can see it, but on this guitar here, there is a W written in there. And I lifted up, but it looks expensive to me.
Hashtag Martin.
So, but the W stands for Whiskey Thomas. And how did you come up with the name Whiskey Thomas?
So when I started writing songs, I was like, I haven't done a song that I am really excited about or whatever. I'm like, I haven't made like a good, like I've just been working on it, for a long time. And then I started writing this song that was just very basic and about my life or whatever at the time. And then I kind of thought of the nickname Whiskey Thomas, like it's a play on, like my name's Hunter Thomas Zank, so Whiskey Thomas is like a play on, maybe you make the wrong decision here or there in life, and blaming it on Whiskey Thomas is kind of the way of being like, it's like an alter ego, like.
That's the old.
So Thomas.
Yeah, it's the rotten half that's in all of us.
Oh,
I think.
I see. Thomas is your middle name, so
Right.
you're saying the whiskey made me do it.
Right. Yeah. I could have cut to the chase and just said that. That's basically what it is.
I
yeah.
didn't say that.
It's,
Whiskey makes a lot of choices.
it's passing blame, which we don't believe in.
We gotta accept that.
but it's it's kind of the same thing. Which
Yeah,
is
for
with,
sure.
with which they will hear in Out of Line. Out of Line is kind of that story too, like you and your woman at differences or whatever, and it's like I know I'm doing wrong and I know I'm way out of line, but I'm
Just stick with me,
acknowledging
mama.
It was Whiskey Thomas.
And they get married in the end, so
Everybody
it's a
lives
good
happily
song.
ever after.
Kind of like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
That's
we all,
funny.
we all have that in
That's
us.
funny because I
Yeah,
just said
it's
that
true.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Whiskey Thomas is with us today, and they're a band here in Northwest Indiana. They're from North Judson. You can hear their debut album on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple Music. You can also just say, Alexa, play Whiskey Thomas on your smart TV. You can hear it on Amazon Prime, and they're going to be at the 18th Street Brewery on Saturday night. I always like to say the day. It's not a Friday, it's a Saturday, August 12th at 18th Street Brewery. They're also going to be in Winnemac on September 16th, a Saturday, hopefully, and that's going to be a bike and car show. So those of you that are in that area, in the Winnemac, Knox, whatever area, you might want to check that out. You said it was sponsored by
Kirstein's Cycle Center. Shout out to Kirstein's.
Shout out.
Their whole family has been close with
Harley
us.
Davidson.
Yeah.
Yep.
So all you Harley Davidson fans are going to want to join that on September 16th. I'm Sue Baxter from PanoramaNow Entertainment News, and this is WVLP 103.1 FM, and we hope you've enjoyed this talking with Whiskey Thomas tonight. The show airs every Friday at noon, and we also include things to do this weekend, and believe me, this weekend is really full. It's even almost bigger than July 4th weekend, so I'm just amazed at all the stuff everyone's cramming in before school starts. So we're good on time, and tell your friends to listen to the show, and you can find Whiskey Thomas on Instagram. They have a website, and I know it's on there somewhere, whiskeythomas.com.
You're pretty easy, baby. Got the domain.
And you can just Google Whiskey Thomas and they'll come up. So thank you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I really appreciated, we like to have the creatives on our show, and really appreciated all your input. It was really interesting.
Their commercial.
What?
The Hunter and Storm.
Oh, okay, and with Whiskey Thomas is comprised of
Storm Lowden.
Storm Loudon on the drums, Kurt Durham on the bass, Tommy Zank on the pedal steel.
Yes, sir.
David Jones on lead guitar, Stephen Miller on the backups and rhythms, and then I'm fronting it, Whiskey Thomas.
Hunter Zank, everybody. And you're listening to Panorama Now, WVLP 103.1.
Thank you. What?
Cool.
Oh. I always forget this. I'm more concerned with that one than I am that one.
There's a lot of
But that's the one. But that's the one that everyone sees.
That's good. They'll be having a good time.
You're doing too much talking.